Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Double RPG here, and welcome to another episode of the 4DS Audio Podcast. As I said, I am Double RPG, and joining me, we have...
TheBadGamer,
Carlio,
and G1 and Mega Mario.
G1? This is not Screw Attack. What are you talking about?
where the hell?
Well, I usually like saying G1, so let's just keep going on with the show.
Okay. So, how are you guys doing today?
I'm fine.
I was doing fine.
I'm waiting for my order of Dark Souls, so...
Oh, so you're gonna give it a shot, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm a masochist. I also ordered the special, the limited version, so I'm getting soundtrack and all that.
Nice.
Well, everything that comes with the soundtrack, I'm ordering. So
I'm actually getting more hyped up for Kirby's Return to Dreamland next Monday.
oh yeah, I saw some game footage of that too, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting this one.
So awesome. So awesome.
So awesome. Hope you can play as all the Kirby characters that you can play as, aside from, like, Player 1 being restricted to Kirby only.
Yeah, I want to play Meta Knight.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Everyone want to play Meta Knight.
Because in New Super Mario Brothers, you're only restricted to Mario for first player. Yeah, it sucks.
I hated that. It sucks.
Yeah, that's not really the best
Yeah,
idea.
even in the DS version, you could actually go like play Luigi if you wanted to. You could press in a certain button command.
Oh yeah. And Omega, how
it's
you
not
doing?
Up or down.
Not too bad. Managed to buy a new game yesterday, which was quite cool.
Oh, cool.
And I love it. And I've deleted some hard drive space to accommodate the disk install.
And I think it might be related to the big release this week, I take it?
Yep, sure is.
Cool, cool. All right, well, for those of you joining in for the first time, we are a weekly audio podcast, the 4DS Audio Podcast, we are. And we talk about the big highlight, which was the big news piece of news for this past week. We also talk about Retro Gems, which we talk about a series, a game, or a video game character in retrospect. Then we go to the big release. We talk about the big game that released this past week. Then we go to the execution, where we feel that a certain game needs to get axed for eternity. And then we go to the video game playground to talk about the games that we are currently playing. And I think it's going to be another jam-packed show for you today, and probably it's going to be another like 60 or 70-minute episode, but we'll have to see. Okay, guys, I think it's time for us to go ahead and get started, and time for us to get into the big highlight. The big highlight!
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! No kidding.
5, 4.
But, yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be a big highlight in terms of goodness, but it's more of a big highlight in terms of sadness, because the big highlight this week, this isn't pertaining to fans who, people who are fans of Sega. I'm sure you're probably familiar with the game Valkyria Chronicles on the PS3 and Valkyria Chronicles 2 on the PSP. But the sad news is that Sega responded this past week by saying that Valkyria Chronicles 3 on the PSP is not going to be making it to the West. And it's getting lots and lots of people sad because they actually really like the Valkyria Chronicles games. The tactical RPGs that are kind of more action-based a little bit.
I don't... excuse me. I don't understand why... Shut up, Collier. I don't get it. I mean... I don't know if it's... it's just... This happens every time I start to like something out of something that I don't think I would like otherwise. I mean, why do they keep doing this?
Well...
The biggest also what Capcom did with Ace Investigator, the sequel.
Oh yeah, Miles Edgeworth.
Oh yes, I love the game. Mm-hmm. I love. I played all of the Ace Attorney, and I was like, why? And now this. I like the first and the second one. Why are you?
Well,
let me guess then, Bad Gamer. Would you be very likely to import it?
Only if I could read it, but since it's going to be in Japanese, no.
are the PSPs not region free?
No,
Yes,
because my
it's not that the reach. It's just I want to be able to understand it. Playing something in Japanese doesn't help me.
Yeah.
This
It's
is
just
the
the
reason
thing
why-
is, it's just the thing that I found out about Valkyria. Why Valkyria Chronicles 3 is not coming west, to the West, is because of how unpopular the PSP is right now, and that sales of Valkyria Chronicles 2 on the PSP were not that very well, in terms of the numbers.
Well, I still don't get why it would go in for the PSP when the PS3 would be better.
Yeah, I'm still kind of wondering that myself. I mean, it just, something worked like this on consoles. It worked really well on the PS3, but why would you downgrade it to the PSP? Is it because that tactics games actually feel more comfortable to handhelds, or are you actually appealing more to the handheld crowd? Because there's lots of them.
I don't get it, but it feels like when I start liking games and it's like, oh, it's a sequel, and it's like, oh yeah, this is also good, and oh, next sequel, we don't get it. What? Why? The same goes with Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
And-
for the PSP, I have Freedom, I have tried, but do we get the upgraded version, the Monster Hunter 3rd? No!
Oh, Monster Hunter
No.
Portable 3rd?
Yeah,
And
no!
it could also be said for Kingdom Hearts, as we said in
Oh,
I think it was episode 1, weren't it? About the final mix.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And Bad Gamer asked me if I was a masochist in wanting the Final Mix versions, and I told him, I always be up for a challenge.
yeah, well,
I mean,
guess.
why do we get second fiddle when it comes to Japanese titles? Like,
Because
Because they hate us.
Well, at least we got
Oh,
Sephiroth
because
first
they-
before they did in the first Kingdom Hearts.
yeah,
Yeah?
Yeah, we got
a
Sephiroth
rarity.
first before they did.
Oh,
they
that's
were
a
so
rarity.
mad. That's the reason,
That's
by the way,
okay.
because that's probably the reason. Because we got the Sephiroth before the Japanese, he got so mad with it, but like, no, not gonna give you any more exclusives. We're taking everything, hogging up space.
It's just, but the thing is, I hate it too. But it's just that I want to play more. It's really unique in its gameplay and how it works, and it's really fun. And now that we don't get the third, it's like, why?
I mean, tactics games back in the past, they were pretty self-explanatory. I mean, if you take a look at, like Fire Emblem and some of those others.
Advance Wars.
Yeah, Advance Wars and Final Fantasy Tactics and even John d'Arc. Those were some of the, those were some really great tactics games back then. Even Shining Force.
Yeah.
But
oh man, I remember that. Shining Force 2 Mega Drive.
Oh, yes.
Dude.
that had to be the best one in the series, in a lot of people's opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was good, but it's
But when you take a look at the series, it doesn't. It seems like it's one of those series. It's one of those genres that doesn't seem to evolve itself that much. But with the game, with the gameplay that pretty self-explanatory. I think the only two times that we've seen the tactics genre be radically different were Disgaea, for one.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the whole intricacy with the combos and stuff, and some of those high attacks that are just extremely ridiculous,
or the extremely high level cap.
Oh yes, and even the item world too, where you had to grind your items and your equipment to make them really strong. And then the only other time we've seen an update, in the evolution of the tactics RPG genre, is Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm not really a big tactics fan. I played a couple of the Final Fantasy. I loved Advance Wars and Valkyria Chronicles, but because it actually felt I was doing more in Valkyria Chronicles because I was the characters, I controlled them.
Mm-hmm. And it's in that game also gave you a time limit to like move your character around, and you are given enough freedom to set your attacks in, and you can ride on tanks and that kind of stuff. And it felt a little bit more like it was action based rather than just being strictly
tactical.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. That's what I like. And the second one was really good also, even though it took place at a school. But
well, wasn't it the school that was based on that unified army from the first one though?
Yes, I think it. But anyway,
but yeah, most of the people,
even though the settings was a bit ridiculous, but it was still, the second one is also pretty good.
And if you take a look at Valkyria Chronicles, I mean, even on the PS3, the games, they're all anime heavy in terms of the art direction that they go. And if you take a look at that graphics effect, kind of looks like in terms of the shadows and stuff, you gotta admit that's some pretty good art right there.
Yeah. It just, I know why we don't give it. It's the same reason why we didn't get the sequel to Miles Edgeworth game. The first game did not sell so well, and it's just that's the thing I hate. I wish not everything was about the selling point.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of even feeling the same with that. The same thing about the Tales series, for instance, because because it always seems like in the West it's more about the selling point rather than the overall quality of the product.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they need to get the money, but at the same time, it costs to localize and stuff. But sometimes it would be nice to feel like they actually do it for the fans outside also.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the Myers. I mean, yes, I may be one of the few who bought the game and loved it and everything, and actually the Ace Attorney is somewhat of a underrated, if I want to call it, because not many people talk about the series and stuff like that. But it's still a good game, and it would be so fun. But ever since Inafune left Capcom, I mean, we see how Capcom likes their fans.
Yeah.
I'm only not saying much because I've never played Valkyria Chronicles. I mean, the only tactics RPG I've played is Shining Force 2, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, Sega, this is a message to you. You announced Daytona this week. Why not bring us Shining Force as well? You got it on Steam. Hint, hint.
How about a true Shining Force 4?
That would not be bad.
Yeah, one that's tactics-based and not one that deviates from the formula, like Shining Force Neo or whatever.
I never played that.
It's bad.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to make a new one, Sega, or re-release one, either 2, or keep it to the same way as 2.
Well, the thing is that if they were going to make a new one, then they probably would have to get Camelot Software Planning in to help, but that's going to be a problem because Nintendo pretty much has Camelot Software Planning as a second-party developer.
Yeah.
I love Camelot. They do really good games.
Mm-hmm. They were the creators of the Shining Force series, believe it or not.
Yeah, and the best RPG on the Game Boy Advance,
Golden Sun.
Yeah.
Carleo, you've been kind of quiet, man.
And Mario Golf. And
well,
Mario
maybe
Tennis.
because I haven't really played so much of Valkyria Chronicles, but I do agree that when it comes to Japanese being bad about releasing games in the USA, it's kind of sad, really. I mean, I don't really have so much of an opinion on Valkyria Chronicles itself, but I do have an opinion on Japan being stupid and not releasing games because it makes the fans of the series very sad. Even if they don't sell that much, the fans of the series just goes, "But why don't we get the game?" And then we all hear about it on forums and everything.
I think it was more based on Sega of America and Sega of Europe's decision because of the sales that Valkyria Chronicle 2 did not meet for the PSP. That could be pretty much reason why they don't want to release it over there because, if you take a look at the PSP, it's not really that popular like it is in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that also could be because of first of all, the lineup, the horrible, the whatever we want to call that, you move your character with, nubbin, was really horrible, and yeah, I mean, sure, it actually has a good game. So I got a bunch on physical, and I have downloaded a couple of them from the PSN and stuff like that. But it's not much compared to everything else I own.
Yeah.
Well, all in all, we're not really happy about, Valkyria Chronicles 3 not getting localized, so...
not really sad, not really angry, just... why?
Just disappointed. How about
Yes,
yeah, it's
exactly.
just disappointing. And it just seems like Western developers just see more of games like this being more for, like, niche audience or whatever. And it's just, when you have a big following like that, it should be anything but niche.
Yeah.
It's just, gosh. Are they really in favor of wanting to do more stuff that what the Western market is more towards, like the FPS games and the, and the RTS games, the party games, the MMOs and that stuff?
I guess, I don't know, but all I can say is, Sega, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Yup.
And Sega hasn't been, is one of those companies that hasn't made the best decisions. I mean, just take a look at all the console add-ons for the Sega Genesis, the Sega CD and the 32X and all that.
And how about bad game? How about just bad games?
Oh yeah,
So-
especially the 32X games.
And Sonic
And then
06, which
sometimes
we have
they-
already raged about.
And then sometimes they have the most spectacular ever, like the Dreamcast and the games for that, and it's just for everything they do right, they always at least makes two things wrong. Just like we made this is awesome, but we need to also make the audience angry at us. So let's do this also. Let's make them really angry.
Well, if anything new comes up for Valkyria Chronicles 3, we will report that, in future episodes. But for right now, we'll just have to keep abreast of the situation. But hopefully it won't be the last of Valkyria Chronicles we'll see, in the future. But we'll have to see. Okay, guys, I think that's enough talk for the big highlight. Now it's time for us to go to Retro Gems.
Retro Gems.
Yay! Gaming classics for the win.
Gaming classics
yes.
for the win, indeed. It's time to talk about something a little bit more happier. And this time, the franchise we're gonna talk about is Metroid.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Omega. Yes, we had to get in that little transition or do 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 do. There we go.
Yeah, alright, shut up, Cardio.
Metroid,
Hey.
The Metroid franchise has been around ever since 1986, I think, and it's the game that came out after Kid Icarus that pretty much overshadowed that franchise in terms of popularity. And
Poor Pit.
mhm.
Never saw that giant shadow coming.
Oh yes, and the Metroid series is pretty famous for having the very first female character in gaming, Samus Aran, who we all
Which shocked a load of people.
shocked a load of people, in the first game because you thought you were actually playing a man, but nope, that was a woman.
manly
underneath
man.
that,
No, it was
I
suit.
bet you one
Basically,
of the-
basically everyone went, what? It's a girl?
Yeah, that's
No,
my
actually-
reaction.
There was actually two reactions. It was either Samus is a woman, no, or we have the other man. We have the other one. Samus is a woman.
Yeah, headbanging.
No, but
Oh, bad gamer! Stop the innuendos for every episode.
No.
So we
But
have
I
those
think we found a new running gag, people.
Oh no.
new innuendos. Let me think about that.
But the Metroid series, in terms of the gameplay, has been really, really well done because because in the old 2D games they were pretty much self-explanatory. They were non-linear, and you pretty much had to use your head or use a map to figure out how to get through those games because they were pretty intricate.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just another one of the things that made the Metroid series very famous is you collecting power-ups that gives you all these different abilities, like the suit upgrades and the beam gun or beam cannon upgrade into, like, ones that are completely OP'd, kind of like the plasma beam or maybe like the wave beam and that kind of stuff.
It was basically Mario and Zelda. If those two had a love child, Metroid was born.
Oh, yes. And
Yeah,
Two- 2D side-scrolling with Mario 2D side-scrolling with Legend of Zelda's item collecting.
yeah, and not only was Samus a very
And
famous
open
character,
worldness.
but there were also some others that were famous, especially the enemies like Ridley and Mother Brain.
Oh yeah. Can never get rid of Ridley, according to the Metroid chronology.
Oh, yes.
No
And
matter
whenever...
how many times you may kill him, he's always coming back.
Mhm.
Either in clone or metal form or
Or just a
semi-med-
haunt to Samus' mind,
Or
apparently.
Omega form when he's possessed by the Phazon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He will come back, even if they state he's die, he will come back.
Oh, yes. And then the next game that came out after the first Metroid was Metroid 2, Return of Samus. Now, did you guys play that any at all?
Yeah, I played on the
no.
Game Boy.
No, I missed that completely.
I
Either
tried
way.
playing Metroid 2. I mean, I did like it, but I felt that it was a bit more confusing. I mean, sure, it was intricate like the first Metroid, but it was kind of hard to, figure out how to get around that because the objective in the game, instead of, going around collecting power-ups, you pretty much had to obliterate 40 Metroids that are within the entire game.
Maybe I should give that one a try at least, because it's the only Metroid I haven't played.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that using a map is not going to help you out a whole lot.
Oh no, because you had to kill a certain number and then a new part would open up. Stuff like that. At least what I've heard and read. So
Well,
far.
it's just I always found it to be very confusing because there was hardly a map to begin with, and it's one of those things that you're like, where do I go next? I mean, a lot more than the first game.
Which is saying
Yeah.
something.
Which is yeah, exactly, Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that around the time of Metroid 2, you didn't have game facts, so if you didn't know where to go, you'll be spending hours and hours and hours. Much like I've been doing with Zelda 2,
Oh yes.
a game which borrows heavily from Metroid, it seems.
But
yeah.
I think one of the interesting things about Metroid 2 was at the ending when you found the infant Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what Sakamoto claims? Yoshio Sakamoto, who pretty much directs the franchise ever since the beginning, he said that that the finding of the infant Metroid was probably the first step and where they could attach story to, from that point. And that's basically what we've seen. I mean, take a look at Super Metroid with the beginning and with the beginning opening, the opening sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although with the second Metroid game gave us also one of the most iconic suits ever.
The Various suit.
You have the shoulder pad for the Various suit.
Oh yes, that made. You're absolutely right about that. I completely forgot about that.
How could you forget about that? Shame on you, Carly. R.
I haven't even said anything.
Carlio,
Exactly.
you're the scapegoat no matter what.
Shut up. I hate you guys.
Oh, go cry me a
shut
river.
up, Carlio.
Carlio, don't go nicking BadGamer's joke.
Then we get on to Super Metroid, which is by far everybody's favorite Metroid game of all time.
Yep.
Best use of the Super Nintendo I've ever seen. Well,
To be-
second to Star Fox.
To be perfectly honest, it's actually my third favorite Metroid game, but
Like gasp.
yes, like that.
But it pretty much made what Metroid was supposed to be. I mean, they added in this map system, and the controls were a lot more.
Made it able to maneuver
Yeah.
around the place. You know where you were going,
more or less.
And even the detail was, in the visuals were just captured down to the T and what the original Metroid was supposed to be like.
Yep.
Because in the first and third game, you pretty much are on the same planet, Zebes or Zebes or whatever. But yes, and you pretty much had to fight against Mother Brain again.
Yeah.
But in a more scary form.
Oh yes.
Also, if you wanted to be a bit of a show off, you could do the moonwalk.
Oh yes. I forgot you could do that after when you do your when you're charging up your charge beam. That's when you can do the moonwalk.
If you put that into option, and if you check that into option,
I'm gonna shoot a plasma missile at your face.
I'm sure Michael Jackson would want to meet Samus Aran if he was still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, it's definitely a masterpiece on the Super Nintendo, and one that definitely needs to be picked up on the Virtual Console if you guys have not done so already.
Oh, I have it. I've had it on my Wii for 2 years now.
So did I. I mean, so do I. And then the next game that came after that was Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, there's my favorite.
Now, I have to say, out of all the Metroid games that are in the 2D, that still maintains the formula, I usually tend to hear that this one is mostly considered the black sheep of the franchise.
Which is odd.
Which is weird because I really like that. That is my favorite Metroid game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good Metroid game, but I think what it is that the people don't like about the game is that it's the first game that was more mission-based.
Yeah.
Rather than just being restricted to non-linearity.
Yeah, I can see that because it wasn't really because Metroid has always been like, here we go, now start finding stuff and blow up the planet in the end. But I kind of, not that I have any against, but I really liked it. It felt like it's where we started to focus a bit more on Samus' character. I mean, even though with the whole, although the only time she talked was in the elevators, but it started to give us something about her backstory and.
And interesting for once.
Oh yes, and that was another thing I was going to explain too. Is that it's one of the things whenever we get up to Metroid Other M, I'll talk about this, but. The story development for Samus actually first started in that game, so it's not Metroid Other M that started it. So,
yeah, let's wait till we.
Yeah, we'll wait for that. But
we can wait until then. We can go rage.
Oh yeah, but one of the things, I mean, Metroid Fusion, it's definitely a really good game. I mean, it's just the prominent feature in that game. Not only did you don't have your your power suit like fully as it is because you pretty much have the X-Parasites attached to Samus Aran all the time to act as the catalyst for all the upgrades that you get.
Yeah.
That's what made the gameplay a bit different. I mean, in terms of finding all the power-ups. I mean, sure, you didn't have the power suit in its regular form because the SAX has the infected suit parts at the research station, and that thing is pretty much the equivalent of Nemesis from Resident Evil 3, because if it finds you, it's going to hunt you down big time.
I was afraid of SAX because of that. It could freeze. It could freeze you, and you were always underpowered.
And it pretty much took a big chunk of your health away too, so that was something we had to watch out for.
Especially when you had to restore the power to the station, and that one point when you were like in a bit just when Sai spots you and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely one of those things. It's definitely one of those points in a Nintendo franchise where you actually feel very scared. I mean, probably the only time that I ever felt scared, in a Nintendo game was the final battle in Earthbound.
Mm-hmm.
when you're fighting against.
Oh, we can go
Gigas.
back to that game another time.
Yeah, but we can go back to that game at another point. Okay, and then the next set of games that released were the Metroid Prime games on the GameCube and the Wii.
Really good, really good. My favorite of all the three is Corruption, I have to say.
Oh yes, and the Metroid Prime games, they were developed by Retro Studios here in the United States, and they pretty much took a different term on the Metroid formula, while still trying to maintain what makes a Metroid game good, and they pretty much made the game a first-person adventure.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out, but...
Yeah, and I know a lot of people would say, no, it's a first-person shooter. And I said, well,
Nope.
yeah, well, no. I mean, it does have first-person shooter elements, but the thing is that it's not linear. It's non-linear. I mean, it maintains that exploration element. That's why they call it a first-person adventure.
Well, I think Miyamoto also stated himself that it's a first-person adventure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because...
And that's the thing. It's, yes, it may be first-person shooter, sort of, but I'm looking for stuff. I'm not... It's not linear like in Call of Duty or stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I really like them. I mean, that was probably one of the breaking points for me to where I actually, really liked the first-person shooter genre because, that game was extremely different for a first-person, adventure game.
Yeah, I mean, I played one. I just the first one was like one of the first GameCube games I had. I played, and it was just amazing for a GameCube game of how much detail it also had in it.
Right.
With the visor and all that. And and how the environment hit the visor, like heat, it would come steam on it, and if it rained, if you looked up, you saw some raindrops on the visor. It was just those small details also can make it really good.
And you could even see Samus's face inside the visor too at some points in time.
Yeah.
I always found that to be kind of freaky at sometimes, especially when you're fighting against the ghost or whatever inside that Chozo shrine or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
It shows so ghosts.
And then I played the second one, and the second one is my least favorite of the Prime games.
Yeah, I usually tend to think that Metroid Prime 2 is probably the weakest of the bunch.
Which is kind of ironic with the whole light and dark, but that I hate, that I actually really hate. I hate the light and dark in Prime, but it was also made by the same dude who... And he was supervising this because... I don't know, but the dude from A Link to the Past, it took him because of the whole light and dark,
right?
And then took him to supervise with the whole this light and dark in Prime 2. But I love A Link to the Past, but I never liked the dark and light in Prime 2. I think it's because also with the whole ammunition of the light and dark, you had to constantly make sure you had.
Well, the thing is that it's just that throughout the gameplay you pretty much had to switch back and forth between light and dark, numerous times, and that felt very repetitive.
Oh, and that the dark world would kill you slowly.
Oh yes, unless if you found the force fields to regenerate your health, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I think also that because of the whole stress, like, oh my god, my life's going away, God, I need to hurry up. Until you get, like, the final suit, which basically means the dark world is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, haha, I can go wherever I want.
I can save
Time for
myself
travel.
without even having to get hurt.
Yeah.
And then Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. It's the first game to utilize the controls for the Wii, and I think it works really well.
Oh yeah, it did. It was. I like just with the whole that for once there were other people.
First
also,
game to include voice acting too.
Yeah, and other hunters. Except, although we have hunters also.
And the Prime Hunters or whatever.
Yeah, Prime Hunters, but that was never really good in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I didn't like it.
It's just the sad part is it was like you barely get to know these hunters, and instantly they become like, oh, they're enemies now. Why? They get corrupted.
Yeah, and that was pretty much the theme of Metroid Prime Corruption, was being corrupted because of the Phazon or whatever that they had installed on them. You know, those Phazon enhancement suits, because they pretty much got their butt kicked by Dark Samus.
That's another thing with the game. With after every Phazon, after every boss, you could start seeing Samus become even more corrupted in her face when she got exposed to more Phazon.
I felt that kind of, you know, almost ruined Samus with her being corrupted, because, you know, when you take a look at Samus, she's actually a very beautiful individual from outside the suit. But with
of course, you would notice that.
But with the Phazon, it just makes her look just butt ugly.
Yeah.
For a reason.
And I mean, if you were to compare Phazon with her, you know, being corrupted onto her, you can almost consider it like cancer, maybe something like geostigma from Advent Children or something.
It has. I think it's supposed to be something with cancer. I don't really know. I don't know what they were going, but it was still there. And then we have one of the most infamous bosses. We have Dark Samus.
Oh yes, and then. And of course, you had Omega Ridley. That was probably my favorite boss fight in the Prime games, was fighting against Ridley, who was Meta Ridley, who was completely corrupted by Phazon.
That boss fight was hard.
Hard, but it had some pretty awesome music.
Oh yeah, and I also like the suit she got.
The PED suit or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, and I even like that. Ability in the game where you can actually activate the Phazon enhancement device to, you know, pretty much pwn your enemies or, you know, open up ways that you can't even get access to. But there was also that thing where if you use it too much, you'll pretty much go out of control. But you pretty much have to shoot out the Phazon in order to deplete a energy unit in your health.
I never used it so much because I was always afraid to kill myself with it.
Yeah.
And the annoying part is when the pirate hunters actually start chucking Phazon bombs that would corrupt you, and I was like, no.
But
I was like, God.
But it was also the first game in the series where you could actually travel between planets.
Yeah. Oh, and the ship starts to become more useful.
Oh yes. That is so true. I forgot about that. But yeah, I definitely think it's a really good one. I definitely think it's up there in terms of how really well made that the first one was, and hopefully we get to see another Metroid Prime game from Retro Studios. But who knows? Okay, and then the most recent game that was released that came out last year was Metroid Other M.
And
it's okay. It's okay. It's an okay game.
Are we still talking about Prime 3?
Nope, we're talking about Other M now.
Other M.
And
I was going to say Prime 3 was still good, but yeah, Other M I didn't play it, unfortunately.
Well, Other M, it usually tends to get a huge backlash from a lot of people because of...
I guess I'm one of the few who... I don't hate it, but I can see some of the flaws people are arguing, but I really liked the combat in this game. And
oh yeah, because Team Ninja pretty much did the game design or the programming.
Yes, they did not do the story, people.
Yeah, that I was gonna say they did not do the story. That was all Sakamoto because he pretty much did the story ever since Super Metroid.
Yes.
You know,
and once again, actually, to start talking about this and some of the points I would like to make would take too much time, so I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, I'm not going to take too much time, but I definitely think it's one of those games that people are overlooking way too heavily. And I know I feel very offended with some of the comments that, you know, even journalists make on the site. I mean, especially with G4. I mean, they called Samus Aran sexist in the game, and I was like, oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Why?
Well, because of that she has to take it from the man.
And not only that, but with her being afraid of Ridley. And I have a very good rebuttal to that.
Same here.
The manga.
But not only that. Even though Other M retcon Prime, which is kind of sad, I do agree. But even though she thought he was dead. When you think that your arch nemesis, the one that also physically scarred you as a kid, is dead, and then all of a sudden he shows up out of nowhere, even though I expected him, of course you will go mentally. You're going
go ape nuts.
Yes, you're going. I mean, you're going to be scared.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. It's that it's just that they consider Samus sexist because they usually tend to like her one-sided character. But the thing is that she was always a third-dimensional character throughout the whole series. That's what they don't get. It's them who's being sexist, not her, because they pretty much only want to see Samus Aran be that that chick who would know how to kick butt and all that, and not be afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Well,
of course, because the thing is, when you before Other M, the first thing you thought was Samus, where you thought, well, she's a kick-ass woman, she's beautiful, but she can kick your ass if you say, well, you're a hot lady, want to go out for a spin? That's what you thought about her. Then come Other M, which she gets some sort of personality. And I'm not saying that she didn't have a personality before. We just had we just thought of something. We just thought her of something else before Other M. And Other M. Then again, when did Other M take place? Isn't it after Metroid or
after Super Metroid?
Almost like an hour after. Yes, almost like an hour after the Super Metroid.
And how many times had she faced Ridley before? I'm not really sure. How many games? Is this the latest game, I suppose?
2 times.
2 times, yes.
In the original story, well, they pretty much consider the Prime games as a subplot and not really...
Well, if you want to... I mean, you can always move the Prime games, after Other M if you want to be that. I mean, it's never officially established when Prime take place. If you still want Primes in the timeline, just... go with after Other M there.
Well, they did signify that the Prime games actually take place before Metroid 1 and 2. I thought I'd point that out to you guys.
Okay, then the Prime go before Other M, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but still, she's, as TheBadGamer said, she thinks Relay's dead, and not only that, but she also has some strong feelings for the commander. Of course, she's going to follow Of course, if she's somewhat in love with her commander, of course she's going to follow his every move. Even if she may be stupid, but hey, love is stupid.
He even called her an outsider too when he first met her on that research station. That was the reason why she did not even use her power-ups that she already had on her, because she wanted to regain his trust.
Exactly. I have 2 words for this: father figure. That's what he was to. That's what she was. That's what he was to her.
And she even explained it in Metroid Fusion as well.
Yes, she did.
And even in the Zero Mission prequel manga, you even saw a glimpse of the, the father figure within him, and the female character within Samus.
Every kid wants to have approval for the parents, whether it be the mom or the dad, and she saw him as a father figure because that was the closest she had as a father. And
it's basic psychology, really.
Exactly.
And just a quick one with the whole her inner monologue. Diary.
The whole thing with the monologue, with her doing the monologue, that was something she did ever since Fusion.
Yeah,
but not only that. But not only that. If you think about it, it could be that she's reading from a diary.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it could be.
A log. I mean, when you describe something in a log or something like that, you have to be pretty precise with your wording so people can visualize what you have seen. And that's the thing. Who made that point actually? I mean, when she's talk normally, she's talk normally. You hear that. those few times she talks outside her head.
Right.
But in her head, it's a monologue. Why? Because she's breathing. Maybe she's breathing for something.
Right.
And even if, by the way, for people who complain about her voice actor, yeah, kind of right. I suppose she's kind of boring. But still, if that is going to be the official voice of Samus, then sure, we can draw parallels to Samus being disturbed, and she's like all cold-hearted all of a sudden, I suppose.
Well,
also, we just say, well, her voice actor sucks. Come on.
I was going to say, right, according to Wikipedia,
Yes,
and
but
we
I
all
was
know
also
what
on Earth.
Wikipedia's like, is they say that Metroid's first, then Prime, then, Prime Pinball doesn't really matter.
Sure.
Metroid
No, it's
Prime
freaking in
Hunters,
otherwise.
the Hunters after Prime, then it's Prime 2, then obviously Prime 3 after that,
Right.
then Metroid 2,
Exactly.
Super Metroid, and then
Metroid Other M.
M.
And then Fusion.
And then Fusion.
Then,
I would
then
actually
Fusion's
want.
the last one.
Yeah.
I would actually want that game, SR3A8 game, at some point.
Oh yes. So do
Because
I mean,
they were hinted a lot in Fusion. They hinted a lot about something happened between. Well, this now is Other M and Fusion. What has happened? What happened in there?
Well, well, if you think about that, then it's more likely to be the next Metroid if Nintendo ever announced it.
Well, I want
Yeah,
to
I
see
hope
them
so.
make the next Metroid game after Fusion, because Fusion does end on a cliffhanger with Samus going outlaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, you can basically say that Metroid is suffering from now entitled Kingdom Hearts syndrome, because up until Fusion, there has been no sequel.
Right.
In a sense, I mean, technically you can just go saying, well, they were still kind of
I think
sequels, but then again, same thing you can say about Kingdom Hearts.
Well,
really.
I think it's because the fans are inflicted with sequelitis. That's what I like to call the term, is because they want to see sequels take place in order, like 1, 2, and 3. But when you take a look at Tetsuya Nomura with Kingdom Hearts, he never really said anything about going into the third one right away, as he always would announce what the next game would be. So at least he's being honest with all of you.
Yeah.
Maybe so, but at the same time, he also always trying to fill plot holes.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some reason we need an explanation for everything. Why the peanut butter jar was opened that one time.
Yeah,
let me make a game out of that. There.
Yeah, he's also a story writer too, or he creates the base story. So yeah, he always feels that there's needs to be a explanation at some point, because he doesn't want to let people feel like they've been completely, confused and that kind of stuff. We could talk about more about Metroid Other M another time or at some other point, but but we just wanted to address those points because we feel that the game is getting heavily shafted for what it is, and we feel that those who are complaining are just completely misguided.
Mm-hmm.
Although they could also complain that we're misguided and we're just drinking the Kool-Aid.
And it's my opinion, but I think that their first game was pretty much Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
Because, when you take a look at journalists today, it seems that sensationalism is more of their thing, because they're more in favor of, being wanting the next Halo game, or maybe the next Madden, or the next Gears of War, and that kind of stuff.
The next Madden comes out next year. Oh, and the year after that, and the year and the year after that.
But anyway, we would mention Metroid Zero Mission 2, but that's a remake of the first game, which I definitely think is more superior.
It is, most because also we get to see her in her Zero suit.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Omega, but I think Zero Mission's more superior than the original Metroid.
I have to agree with him there.
I weren't complaining about that. I thought you said Other M 2, then I thought, what?
No, I said Zero.
Yeah, you
know what?
Zero
Never
Mission.
mind. But anyway, all in all, to conclude, the Metroid series, we definitely think it still holds a really big place in our hearts, and it still continues to amaze us with most of the games even to this day. And we just hope to see that the series can go forward more after Metroid Fusion. But whenever that game comes, we may never know.
Nintendo, bring us a sequel to Fusion.
Yeah, call it
Yes.
Metroid Dread, which you have been teasing us for quite a while now.
Metroid.
Nintendo, it's very important that you please.
Metroid Wanted.
Nintendo, it's very important that you please me and Double R.
Yes, exactly. Okay, guys, we've been on this topic for quite too long. We've been on it for about almost a half an hour. I think it's time for us to get on to the big release.
The big release!
Something great to say about that.
Yes.
And the big release, as Omega was kind of hinting at it at the beginning, the big release for this week is Forza 4 for the Xbox 360.
For those who love cars with power.
But with no Porsches.
Or driving
Yeah,
games now.
curse you, EA.
Curse you, EA!
Duh, what's the push?
So anyway,
I am 12 what it is.
the Forza series is pretty much Microsoft's answer to Gran Turismo, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
except
pretty much.
except this series, and I don't mean to sound biased, can actually release more games than Gran Turismo.
Well, I think
And
the
it-
thing is with Gran Turismo is I'm pretty sure that the guy who does the series actually wants to be careful. I think the thing is that he wants to put in more quality instead of, constantly releasing games, within every 2 years or so because he wants to put in so much polish.
But apparently
looked
he's
at you,
doing it
Mad.
too long because
Yeah.
according to Omega, Forza is the greatest racing game ever, which I'm inclined to disregard.
Hold on. I don't think it's the greatest racing game ever.
No,
No,
because
that's
that
Daytona
is
USA,
Mario Kart.
isn't it?
Mario Kart's better in my opinion.
Burnout
Yeah,
Paradise
that's
is
if you
best.
want arcade,
Burnout
but I mean,
Paradise for the
like,
one.
But yeah, for simulation, it's kind of hard to say, but I know some people tend to turn more to the Forza franchise these days, if I'm not mistaken.
It can
Yeah,
be
it's
because it
because-
has a more of a arcade look to it, because and still a very serious look at it. Because on
Yeah.
one phase you can change your tires and whatnot and have like ultra tuning and whatnot, and on the other side you can go car bowling.
oh
Horror
yeah,
bowling.
right. You know when Gran Turismo 5 came out,
Right.
Nope.
they were all happy about the joint with Top Gear.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They were like,
Oh, yeah.
"Oh, we're going to be ahead of Forza 3 because we're going to have Top Gear included."
Which is an outrageous
Right,
show, in my
let's-
opinion. Hey.
Let's be honest. They didn't integrate Top Gear as well as Forza 4 has.
Nope.
Right?
I actually
watched
remember
video
the Super
earlier.
Nintendo game.
No,
Top
Top Gear,
Gear.
the TV show.
Oh, I see.
With Jeremy Clarkson and Richard Hammond.
Right.
The cool
Um,
guys.
Old timey cars.
The cool guys would like to make fun of each other all the time.
Yeah. Well, basically, they were like, "Oh, we got a Top Gear test track. Sweet." But according to what I saw earlier on the internet, Gran Turismo 5 never had the star in the reasonably priced cars. They had never had the Suzuki Liana, which was the first one, and the Kia Ceed.
Right.
And Forza 4 has the Liana, the Ceed, has the Top Gear test track, and on the replays, if you are familiar with the show, it has everything down to a T. It has all the nearly all the camera angles from the show.
I wonder if it has to do with a licensing issue, because I'm pretty sure they had to get approvals for the license of the cars and such. And
Could be.
there were some cars that Gran Turismo 5 couldn't get, and there were some cars that maybe even Forza possibly couldn't even get.
Yeah,
course.
it's main. Oh, shut up, Carlio. No, it's just that I really don't know why the Kia Ceed and the Liana weren't in Gran Turismo, but I think the Ceed weren't in Gran Turismo because, as I can recall, the Ceed weren't out until like 2009, 2010. I think it's true. I don't know. I might look it up later. But
Okay.
like I said, the way they use Top Gear in Forza 4 is far more superior than 5. Like I said, you can have Jeremy Clarkson talking about the cars in the Auto Vista. If you've seen the Halo Warthog video, he's like, "Kids often write to us here at Top Gear."
Okay, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how is
Um,
Forza 4, by the way?
Oh, seriously. If you were to compare either 3 and 4 of Forza,
Uh-huh.
there is such a leap of what Turn 10 have done in a 2-year gap. Such a leap.
Mm.
Great.
Because they've taken everything that made 3 good. This is going back to the Gears of War thing. You know, broke, don't fix it.
Right.
What they've done is they've added better use of HDR, made the textures much more better. In fact, while watching a replay, if you like, say you go out, get a drink, and then come back in, you'll forget you're playing Forza. That's how good the game is in HD, because if you watch the Top Gear test track, a replay on that seems like you're watching the show.
Wow.
It's
Sweet.
just that little bit under. It's sure it's not TV quality, but it's near that point.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not usually a high graphics fan, but
Does it surpass Gran Turismo 5, or do you say it's probably about the same?
well,
Because Gran Turismo's 5 budget, in developing the game, is the highest game, that have the biggest budget in history. It had like $60 million in development.
Wow.
yeah, they're like, there's a load of comparison screenshots, and to be fair, I can't recall if Gran Turismo 5 runs in 1080p.
Oh no.
Because I really don't know, because I've never played the proper Gran Turismo 5, because I really got irritated with the teaser releases like Gran Turismo HD and Prologue, and I just thought, oh, forget this.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, even better, when you buy Forza 4, you get a little game mode called Top Gear Soccer. Car soccer. It's so great. It can equal load of multi-car pile-ups, everything.
Well, I never really played Forza that much because I wasn't really big into Xbox, but with Forza 4, I may have to give it a shot.
I'm not gonna bother with it because,
Yeah,
as I said, I'm not a huge racing fan. Unless it's called F-Zero
Mario Kart
or Mario Kart
or Diddy Kong Racing.
I never liked that either.
Oh,
that was so fun.
No,
they would have Crash Bandicoot Team Racing, but
Well,
but unless it's those,
if you think about it, right, Forza 4 maybe kind of nearly TV quality for racing. I dread to think what Forza 5 would be like.
well, it's kind of hard to say because how much more in detail can the eye can see for beyond HD or whatever.
Yeah,
Super
Right.
HD.
Because that's the thing that I kind of concern myself with the next generation is that even though Nintendo is going HD with the Wii U, but you got to admit that the detail in the Wii U that we've seen out of the tech demo and the Zelda experience was pretty much really high on par, or a lot more detailed than the PS3 and the 360.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes me think that maybe Microsoft and Sony's next console, it possibly might be a little bit better, but it'd probably be more like a refinement.
To say this, Lee, I think we have gone as far as is possible to get in the graphics, if you ask me. The only step we have now is virtual. The moment we can integrate virtual, then when I don't see much graphic updates.
Right.
Well, it's just the thing is, right, if Forza 4's just proved that it can push the Xbox that far, we've got Rage, that apparently is good on consoles and not PC, which is kind of strange for once.
Yeah.
It
And
has
then
something to
you've
do with
got
the graphic
Elder
card.
Water. Just to piss off all the PC gamers, who apparently are sitting on their high horse about
And I know
PC.
a lot of the PC gamers are pissed off that Dead Island's not doing very well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Dead Island's just not doing very well at all.
Well,
Just
except for
kidding.
the Xbox 360 version, because that's pretty much the version they worked on in
Yeah.
development.
That can explain
And
stuff.
then you've got the third game, like I said, Forza 4, Rage, and then Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim. We all know what Oblivion looked like when that came out on 360, and this was like 2006.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just look at it now. It's magnificent.
It still looks good.
Yeah, I'll have to give it that much. But anyway, Omega, do you definitely give your 2 thumbs up on Forza 4? It seems like it.
If I had more than 2 thumbs, Double R, I think I'd end up giving out like 4 or 5.
Or 10 fingers,
Yeah.
meaning a 10 out of 10. But yes, for those of you who are big into racing games, or the simulation racing games, kind of like Gran Turismo or Forza, but if you're really into Forza, and if you're looking forward with Forza 4, then look no further with this one, and be sure you go pick it up this week.
Yeah. Everything on Forza 3 is all back in Forza 4, but there's one little penalty about the import profile. Mm-hmm. You do not get every car you had.
Oh no!
Right? So if you've got a really good car,
You got a really good car.
yeah, if you've got a really good car, then don't expect to sit there and go, oh, right, I'm going to import my profile because then it come back. No. Right, because I had an Audi R8 LMS perfectly painted on Forza 3, full upgrades, everything. It said, we detected a hard drive profile of Forza 3. Would you like to import it? I went, yes. We give you all these cars, plus your DeLorean, but there's one missing. I went, right, what's that?
No.
Your Audi R8 LMS. I was like, you could pretty much tell I was just going to drop a massive F-bomb.
Oh, I could imagine. Well, anyway,
I can't. Show us. I want to hear it.
What? No,
No, I don't swear. I'm not swearing
Everything
on
to
this
race-
podcast once.
Everything. To
Anyway,
race
guys,
counts.
we're rapidly running out of time here, so we're gonna need to
Yeah.
go on to the next segment, and that is the execution.
The execution.
Yes.
At least it's a game we don't need to talk so much about because, well, it doesn't really need too many words to be
But
spoken
it's
of.
one that Carlio is going to get axed on because because
It's
the
more-
game
it's
that we're
be-
talking about is Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2 on the DS.
Now that we've said that name, we could just axe it there and be on with and be going
Well,
with it.
I'll give it a brief summary. Basically, the gameplay from Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2 and manages to maintain the action elements from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, but the thing that really kills it is that it's mission-based, it's extremely linear, and it was supposed to be a co-op game, but it doesn't really work that well.
Hold on. Can I give
And it
it a
doesn't have it-
little... I'll give it a little tinsy summary, shall I?
Okay.
It's simply this. 4 swords with Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yes. But it's
At least
not...
4 swords for fun.
Yeah. But with 358 Days Over 2, it's just... Ugh. I mean, when you play a Kingdom Hearts game, you're supposed to have that sense of freedom, but not with 358 Days Over 2. Yeah, I mean, you're restricted to doing missions, and it's very linear because you have to go through the game, in the time span of 358 days before,
Yeah.
you end up as Roxas inside the bed on the first day in Kingdom Hearts 2 before, you have to bring back Sora from his year-long sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, the thing is, when I'm thinking about. I mean,
So much
thing-
size. So much size.
Yeah.
Because trying to explain this without dropping f-bombs and stuff like that it's just the thing is when I think about Square Enix games, I'm thinking boss battles also, epic boss battles. Kingdom Hearts 1 had a couple of them. Kingdom Hearts 2 had a couple of them.
A lot
Kingdom
of
Hearts 3 Kingdom Hearts 2 had a lot of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
but none of them was really good, and it feels like you were taking on something big, especially the final part in the World That Never Was.
Right.
That's one of my favorite parts. But the thing is, this one, it had 5 and I'm not counting. And the final boss with the 3 forms doesn't count. That's 5. That's one for
well, technically there are like sub-bosses where you can be fought who are
Doesn't
extremely high
count.
levels, and some can be seen as bosses, technically. But really, when it comes down to like good bosses and stuff like that, or well, good bosses overall, as TheBadGamer says, it only comes down to like 5, 6 maybe.
And also, 5 worlds? Are you serious? Lazy.
5 worlds and the same missions almost every time.
Over again.
5 worlds.
5 worlds.
Yep.
Right, hold on. If you put
Maybe
that to-
6, depending on how you count. Like,
Hold on.
okay, here it is. Twilight Town. Twilight Town is 1.
Agrabah.
Wonderland.
Halloween Town.
Halloween Town. Beast Castle.
Yeah, Beast Castle.
I think that's it.
Right, so if you pretty much put
Technically, the world that never was, because that's where your home base is,
when
and
you're-
you do
when
one
you're-
mission in that place.
Yeah, your defection.
Right. So if you put
Yeah.
that towards value, then you are not getting the money you were from the DS cart. No way.
Yeah.
Nope.
But
And
what? What?
And with the whole mission, it's like it feels like it's so much.
Repetitive missions. That's all I gotta say.
Oh yeah.
That's what
Same
ruined
missions.
Assassin's Creed 1 for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay, but anyway, guys, I think we're at a good spot to, where we talked about this game a whole lot, and I feel like we don't need to talk about it anymore. So we feel that this
I don't need to
game,
rage about it.
yeah, we feel that this game is probably the weakest. Definitely there with Chain of Memories, but we have to. But we all agree, Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, you are executed.
Finish him!
And
You
do
should
not
never
deserve
be-
to be in the
You should
Kingdom
have
Hearts
never even
franchise.
existed to be with.
decapitation.
At least we're all excited for Dream Drop Distance and Kingdom
Oh,
Hearts
yeah.
3 when they come out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Fancies all around.
Okay, guys, that's enough for the execution, and now it's time for us to get on to the last segment, which is the video game playground.
The video game playground.
Omega, you pretty much clarified what you've been playing. You were playing Forza 4 this past week, weren't you?
Yeah, sure was.
Anything else?
Well, not really. Just trying to catch up on Sonic Adventure 2, trying to get it finished.
You doing
cold
any
times.
videos for it?
Uploaded a Radical Highway speedrun with Shadow.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Aside from that, well, it's not really a speedrun. It's just showing off. It was the one I was talking about last week. When I messed up the camera on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Except I didn't mess up the camera the second time round. Curse you, physics.
Ah, I see. Okay, TheBadGamer, what have you been playing?
I started playing Spyro of the Dragon, and I finished it 2 days ago. I 100% completed it, and I've also played some Fist of the North Stars Ken's Rage. Very good game, even though some people would disagree, but screw them.
Boy, that first Spyro game, it's pretty fun. Made by
Yeah.
Insomniac.
Yeah, I know, but I prefer Year of the Dragon. Year of the Dragon is my favorite.
Oh yeah, Year of the Dragon's a good one too.
And I just recently started playing Alundra again.
Ah,
My favorite PS1, one of my favorite PS1 games. It actually is also one of the first PS1 games I played.
which one?
Alundra.
Oh, Alundra. Okay.
Yeah, it was the first one, and I liked it. The music is good. The story is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the bosses are awesome.
Didn't Working Designs work on the localization for Alundra, if I'm not mistaken?
I think so.
Yeah, they were pretty much the people who did the localization for the Lunar games for the PS1.
Yeah. But I gotta admit, I mean, but Alumni is really, to say it bluntly, it is a Zelda ripoff in many ways, with the overhead and the way, but it has some of its own originality, and if you haven't played it, you should definitely try it at least once, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it, but I passed up on it, so yeah, I'll be sure to try to give that another shot whenever I can, so.
You should. It is good. It starts kind of lighthearted, but in the end, it's going very dark, and
Nice.
some parts may be hard, but
But yeah, it's very dark.
yeah.
In the overall tone, when that you progress from the lightheartedness to the darkness of the plot or whatever.
Yeah, it starts like, okay, people, and then it's like, oh my god, everyone is dying.
Okay. Carlio, what have you been playing, my friend?
I've been playing Puzzle Bobble, or otherwise known as Bust a Move in the US, and yeah, I've been playing that a lot for the Titanium, or what do you call it? Titanium and Flash Gaming, the Screw Attack thing.
I love me some Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Puzzle Bobble.
I know it's Puzzle Bobble, but I actually prefer Bubble Bobble more.
Yeah,
I
I can see that. But Puzzle Bobble is still a fun game and has some good music in it, and it's stuck in me forever. Do. And also, I've been playing Minecraft. But that's really what I do every week because it's a good time to just spend time, I suppose.
Minecraft.
Also, yeah, I'm usually not talking about it, but I play it every week, really. And also, I'm playing Borderlands with my friends. We're trying to finish it. We're like, I don't know how far into the story we are. Maybe 2/3, maybe. I'm not sure. And well, that's it. I've been trying to do some recoded, but I rage quit because the game is being stupid.
Shucks. Okay,
Yeah.
well, the game I've been playing, I went back to play Kingdom Hearts again because when I was capturing the footage with my HD PVR, the footage would not even work that well, so I had to pretty much revert back to my DVD recorder. So the game has pretty much had to get a redo in terms of the recording process. But other than that, I haven't played a lot of other games lately. I mean, I'm gonna be gearing up to play Batman Arkham City, which comes out this week. And I'm definitely going to be playing that heavily, and I'll definitely give you my 2 cents on that next weekend. But other than that...
I can say I'm going to play some Dark Souls next week, and I'm going to give you my 2 cents on that.
Awesome, man.
Rage.
All right, well, anyway, guys, I think that will go ahead, and that will conclude this episode of the 4DS Audio Podcast. We all hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to see you again, coming up next weekend, since we pretty much are the weekend warriors when it comes to podcasts. But anyway, to sign off, I am Double RPG, and we have...
TheBadGamer.
Carlio.
And a Mega Mario.
Any plugs?
Nope. Well, my Kingdom Hearts review soon stop.
No, just feel free to go to my channel anytime, and so far my most viewed video at the moment that seems to be getting a lot of comments is my Sonic Generations Special Edition video.
Oh, nice.
I have not, this is the only thing I do.
Okay, well, for me, to plug for me before we go, the Tales of Symphonia LP that I'm, still working on, that's going to be finishing up this week, and then next week is going to be the Kingdom Hearts LP after that. After Tales of Symphonia. I'm still working on Donkey Kong 64, but after that, that's when right before I get done with that, that is when I'll be starting work on Tales of the Abyss, which is the next Tales game that I'm doing an LP on, and it's going to be lots of fun, just to promote that game and even give you guys in Europe a showing of the game before, it releases over in your territory this November, so...
It is awesome!
Yeah, for the 3DS.
Awesome!
Yeah, you guys get it early. But in the US, it's releasing on Valentine's Day, February 14th of 2012.
Wow.
Which makes sense, because there is actually a theme of love in the game.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna be watching that LP then.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have lots of fun doing it. I mean, it's been a while since I played it, but it's definitely one of the most underrated in my opinion. But anyway, guys, we all hope that you enjoyed this episode of the 4DS Audio Podcast, and we thank you so much for watching or for listening, and we will see you next time. We'll see you next weekend, and this is Double RPG signing off. Laters!
Bye!
Goodbye and good gaming.
Adios!